everyone. So, for those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Neva. I'm 24 years old and I'm currently living in Germany with my husband Ben and our cat Blue, who's sitting up here. I don't know if you guys can see him very well. Do you want to say hi? Let's say hello, honey. He's like, no, thank you. We don't want to be on camera. You don't like it? Okay. So basically in this video today, I just want to tell you guys just a little part of my personal story. I'm basically just going to be talking about why I decided to not study, not go to university, and why I chose to leave the United States and travel. So I made this decision when I was 20 years old. It was a really big, really life-changing decision, and I just thought I should share this because I'm sure that there's other people out there, other young people who are in a position where they're trying to decide what to do with their lives, if they are going to go to college, or if they really want to, or if they want to take a gap year, or if they want to travel, whatever the questions might be. I'm just here to share you guys my story, and hopefully something that I say will be worthwhile to one of you. I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands so much. Okay, so without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So I think I will start this story out just sort of at the beginning or at the end of my childhood life. When I was 17 going on 18, I graduated high school, and I didn't really think about the fact that I maybe didn't want to go to university. It was just sort of like expected of me, like with everybody else. You know, all of my friends were going to be going to university, and it was just like clear to me that that's what I was supposed to do. I just never really gave it like a second thought, and even in the moments when I thought maybe I didn't want to go, it was just like something in the back of my head, which now I will say is just like general societal pressures. This like voice was just telling me, no, you have to go. This is what you are supposed to do. This is what everybody around you is doing. You know, all of my friends were applying to universities and getting in and preparing to go to college, so I just sort of did the same thing, even though it might not have felt 100% right all the time. In high school, I was never an outstanding student. I was never like really failing or really struggling in my classes. I just never did particularly well. I wasn't passionate about my education, and I think that's one of the biggest sort of problems that teenagers are facing when they're about to be going into university, is that we take our education for granted. We don't think about the fact that being able to be educated, being able to go on to university is really a true privilege, and it never crossed my mind that I was lucky to be able to go to university, and that, you know, getting an education should be something that I was excited for, and I really wasn't that excited about it. I was excited in the sense that I was finally going to be leaving my parents' house and living my own life or whatever, you know, but I definitely wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm so excited to go to my university classes. That just wasn't something that I was really into. So after I graduated high school, after the summer went by, I went to university, and I only applied to one school, a school that was in state that I knew that I'd be able to get into. It wasn't like a big process or something. It was really just like, it was my only option, kind of. I don't know why I felt this way. I could have applied to other schools, but because I wasn't passionate about going to university and I wasn't passionate about my education, it was just like an easy decision for me to just go to a close school because it, for me, just wasn't a huge deal. Once I got there, I definitely lived the like classic dormitory college experience. I won't get into too much detail about what I mean when I say this, but I think that everybody who's either been a freshman in college or even just like seen a movie about freshmen in college understands that a lot of the experience is, you know, partying and drinking and, you know, just being like a wild teen kind of. Wow, it's like, it feels so embarrassing to be saying this now because I'm just so not this person anymore, but when I left home and I was finally an adult and I was allowed to make my own decisions and live my life the way I wanted to, I don't know why I keep doing this because I'm just like embarrassed to be telling you guys some of this stuff, but anyway. So slowly but surely, I just started not doing very well in my classes because I, once again, just didn't really care about my classes that much. I was much more focused on the social aspect of being away at school, and slowly but surely, or not really that slowly actually, pretty rapidly, I just started not doing well in my classes, and I started sort of realizing that I was at university, but I wasn't really participating in university in the way that I felt like I should be. Eventually, I just decided that this experience that I was having was just not good for my mental health and was really just not the place that I needed to be at in my life right then. So I decided to go back home to just sort of recuperate and figure out what I was doing with my life, because I clearly had absolutely no idea. Once I was back at home, I decided to start attending community college because once again, I felt like I was supposed to be getting a degree. I felt like that was what I was not required to do, but what was like expected of me as an 18-year-old person, whatever. I don't know where I'm going with that sentence, but I think you guys get what I'm trying to say. So I started going to community college, and it was just like pretty clear that just like with my university before, I wasn't really passionate about my classes. I was just sort of doing it because I felt like I was supposed to. And I was still unhappy, even though I wasn't in the same situation I'd been in before. I was just bored with my life. I wasn't getting any enjoyment out of the classes I was taking. I wasn't getting much enjoyment out of anything, and I wasn't living healthily. That's all I'm gonna say. After a few months of going on like this, I sort of just came to my mother actually, and I just said to her, like, I'm unhappy and this just doesn't feel right, you know? Whatever it is I'm doing right now is just not the right thing for me. This is not where I'm supposed to be. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I could just tell in my heart that this was just wrong, and I should be feeling better about these like pretty big decisions that I was making, you know? I should feel passionate about my education if it's really what I'm supposed to be doing. And my mom just basically said to me, you know, if it's not the right time, then it's not the right time. Like, you know, I think that in reality, I really should have considered taking a gap year and going to university like a year later or even a little bit longer or whatever. But that's not what happened. So I then decided that I wanted to leave. I know it sounds a little bit ridiculous because that's like a massive decision that I just sort of like popped out, kind of like without, it seems like without a lot of thought, but actually a lot of thought went into this decision, and I was researching for a long time about what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go, and all I can say is I just knew what I was doing in that moment was wrong and I needed to change it. So this is where the story gets like a little more exciting, because I decided to leave the United States. I decided that I was just living the wrong life and I was ready for a huge change. I think that now looking back on the situation, I was really craving like something really new. And I know that when you're going to university, this does feel really new, but I was still living like along the same expectations and along the same guidelines that I'd been taught were like the same guidelines that were like set in place for me to follow. And even when I left university and started attending community college, I was still living along these guidelines, these set of sort of rules that you're supposed to live by. And deciding to leave the United States and essentially just like pick up my life and go to a new country was honestly exactly what I was supposed to do. After a lot of research, I decided to head to Israel, and the reason I chose Israel is because my mother had lived there for almost a decade when she was in her 20s, so I felt really connected to this country and to this place, and I wanted to experience what she had experienced when she was my age. So I chose a 5-month program where you like work and learn Hebrew and get to live in this community setting. Yeah, I just basically packed up all of my stuff and I said to all of my family and all of my friends, I'm leaving the United States and I don't know when or if I'll be coming back. And I know that sounds like really dramatic, but honestly, like that's really how I felt, and I really didn't think that there was anything in the States for me that I was like leaving behind. Like my family is obviously there and still is, but yeah, I don't know. I just felt so right to be saying, I don't know when or if I'll return, and that was really the truth and really how I felt. So yeah, I just hopped on a plane, went off to Israel, and yeah, the rest is sort of history. The second that I left the United States and I got onto this plane and I began this new journey, it felt so freaking amazing. I felt finally just free of these societal expectations, finally free of these rules and restrictions, these decisions that had, like, I felt like had been made for me. I know that they hadn't, and I'd made every decision, but I just finally felt like I didn't have to feel responsible for these decisions that I really kind of wished I hadn't made. I just felt so incredibly empowered, and I just felt strong, like I was changing my life the way I wanted to change my life. And I don't think that very many people can say that. And I know that traveling is not for everyone, and not everyone is open to this idea, but being able to move to another country and experience a new culture and experience a new way of life and really feel like I was my own person, making my own choices and just living freely the way I really wanted to, was just the most incredible feeling. I just cannot express how wonderful it was. And even just like being in the airport, you know, 20 minutes after my parents dropped me off there, I was so happy, and I just felt so good about the decision I'd made, and it had been a long time since I really felt that way. I know that for some people that feeling doesn't come necessarily from traveling or leaving university, but if you can figure out what it is that makes you feel this good and this free, then go for it. Yeah, just being able to go out into the world and experience this new life and make choices that I felt like were really right for me was just absolutely amazing. And I really, really strongly recommend this to anyone who's questioning where they're supposed to be. If you have the ability or the opportunity available to you to go somewhere else and experience a new way of life, please just do it. It will feel so good. You'll become a better person. I know that sounds sort of cliche, but you really will be more well-rounded and more worldly and more understanding of other people existing in our world right now. So yeah. The reason I really wanted to make this video and sort of give you guys a little background into this story is because I think that a lot of people who are, you know, 16, 17, 18 and facing this massive life-changing decision about what they're going to do with the entire rest of their life. Like, I still can't believe that we ask teenagers to make this huge, monumental decision. Like, how can okay, I know that there are some people who really are just like, from the second they're in school, they know exactly what they want to do, they know what they want their profession to be, they are passionate about their education, and they're ready to just jump into university and just go for it. And that's amazing. Like, if you're one of those people, freaking go for it. Like, if you want an education and you feel passionate about it, do it. Seriously, do it. Education is a privilege, and if you have the ability to get educated and be a part of that system, and you enjoy that system and you enjoy the structure, then you should absolutely be a part of it. Oh my god, the sun is going down. Ah, it's like apocalypse outside. All I'm saying is, by making this video, I'm not trying to knock education. I'm not trying to tell anybody that you shouldn't go to university, because if it's what you want to do, then you should absolutely do it. All I'm saying is, I think that as teenagers, we should be able to decide, or at least there should be some sort of conversation about whether going straight into university is really what we want to do, or if we just feel like it's what we're supposed to do. Yeah, that's all I'm trying to say is, if you're in this position, if you don't know what you're doing, if you're not sure if university is right for you, or you feel like your parents just want you to go, just take a second and really try to self-reflect a little bit and figure out if this is really the right path, or if you want to maybe take 6 months off and go do something else. You know, university is always there. Just because you take a gap year, it doesn't mean that when you're turning 19 you can't go into university again. You absolutely can, and I think that all we should be doing is being a little bit more open to this conversation and really deciding if the choices that we're making are for ourselves, or if they're because of societal expectations, or because of our parents' expectations, or our peers' expectations, or whatever. So, you know, I'm not trying to knock education. I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad for wanting an education, but at this time in my life, university was just not for me, and I wasn't passionate about it, and it was the wrong decision. Now, I certainly don't regret going to university. All of the experiences that I gained there really shaped me as a person, and I'm really grateful that I did get this experience. You know, living in a dorm and being surrounded by people my age who are all just trying to find themselves was a really, really powerful situation to be a part of. But I certainly do think that I would have been more successful if I had taken time to find who I really am before I jumped straight into university. Yeah, so I guess that's all I'm gonna say for this video. I really hope that something that I said was helpful to somebody watching. I know I'm kind of just like rambling out my story a little bit, but it just felt like, why not share it and hope that my words could maybe help somebody else. So yeah, I wish you guys a great rest of your day or night. I'm in a different country than probably most of you guys watching, but I will get into that in another video. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time.